Hello, I'm PJ Bishop. Welcome to my channel and the ongoing series with the Oakland A's. It's beginning of August, so we've gone through July, one of my favorite months of the baseball season. The draft has come and gone. The All-Star break has come and gone. The trade deadline has come and gone. My midseason promotions for the prospects has come and gone. So overall, it's been a busy month um, of figuring out who we are as a team, and I think moving forward, I am excited for this team. It's a good-looking team, I think, for the future. A lot of young, exciting players. Just unfortunately, the present just doesn't look so great. So not a lot of news happening in the early months, but July 14th, right fielder J.J. Bleday has been named to the AL All-Star team, making his first career MLB All-Star team. He's at the time he was slashing 227, 309, and 412 with 11 home runs, 36 RBIs, 12 stolen bases in 81 games, 77 starts. As you can see, he's still roughly doing the same thing. The average is down slightly. Everything's just slightly down. Same number of home runs. Hasn't hit a home run. Only stolen 3 bases since. But he gets this forever. He's now forever etched in history as an all-star. And then right-handed pitcher, he got voted in as a closer. Grant Coleman, who came in, who, like I said, was a closer, and center fielder Denzel Clark have made the All-Star Prospects game, so that was nice to get at least 2 represented there. And then July 19th, Oakland and Los Angeles Angels have come to a trade agreement. Oakland sends 31-year-old first baseman J.D. Davis in exchange for 18-year-old minor league shortstop Felix Morabel. He's an interesting player. He is a shortstop. I currently have him down at the Dominican Summer League. And he's starting to look pretty darn good. Where is he? There he is. He was playing for them, I think, in low A. Rookie ball, where was he? He was actually playing at high, but he wasn't doing well. So I'm going to kind of give him a little reset. Flew him off to Dominican Republic. Let him play in the Summer League down there. And begin next year stateside for the Arizona Complex. I do like him. He's currently listed as a shortstop. With his range and air, he's more than likely going to be brought up as a shortstop, even though I would rather have him as a second baseman. If I can get a better shortstop, if he happens to be playing on a team that has a better shortstop, because his arm strength just isn't quite there yet. It could get there, but it's not quite there yet, which is why you see him down just as an average. Despite the range and air being up extremely high, his arm is just a little fringy for a shortstop. He would be a perfect second baseman, an absolute perfect second baseman. And if not, he can even be a good left fielder, just no arm there either. So the arm is kind of his weakness there. Could be a left fielder. Second baseman will also have shortstop, but more than likely he's going to be brought up as a shortstop along the entire way. I just don't see a better shortstop defensively in the minor leagues. He's currently crushing at the Dominican Summer League. I do like him. I think he can be a full-time player for us in the future because he is really defensively. He's solid. If he has to be my shortstop, I can live with that because he is an above-average defender. We'll have to live with his fringy little arm. It's still an above-average arm, but for shortstop, I consider it fringy. Not a power kid, but he's a guy that's got really high avoid Ks, really high bat-to-ball, plus skills there. An above-average eye. He's someone that should be able to hit for average, get on base, and with his stealing ability, speed, and stealing aggressiveness, someone that can make a name for himself on the base pass. So overall, a really solid player. Pretty happy to get him for J.D. Davis, who was playing well for me. I think he had a 700-something OPS at the time. So he wasn't doing terrible. He wasn't doing great. Of course, we were pretty much starting over with an 18-year-old kid, and it's going to be years before we see any of this fruit bearing, but hopefully it does. Let's see here. And that was the only trade I made. I had no contracts were given up or were expiring. And I don't think any of our arbitration deals are looking like they're going to be breaking the bank. So we could afford to keep everybody else and kind of just keep building with the team we currently have. Let's see here. We also ended up calling up first baseman Armando Alvarez, had his contract selected. And he's quite a special case. He's been grinding in the minor leagues since 2016, and will finally make his call-up and MLB debut today. He's a former 17th round pick, 518th overall, back in 2016 by the New York Yankees. He was granted free agency where he signed with San Francisco. After one season, he was a free agent again, and this time signed with Oakland. 8 years of working hard for this moment today. Not the debut he was looking for, as he went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, but the fact that it took him so long. He's doing okay right now. As you can see here, in his 8 games, which is an extremely small sample size, so I don't get overly excited, he's playing really well. Recently, he's gotten better. That home run has really helped because it bumped his average up that day. He also got 3 hits that day. That really helps. But he's been solid, really. 1 hit, 2 hit, 4 hits game. Of course, he got walked in this game, so still productive. 3 hits, including a home run, which really helped raise his getting that slugging percentage up. Makes him look a lot better, but that was just 1 game. So he's old. He's 30, but he's someone that can play. He can play multiple positions. Not very good. Clearly just a first baseman, a really solid first baseman, and he can steal. So we're excited to have him. Just, if anything, he's more of a depth piece. So next year, I do imagine him starting on my active roster. I don't know if he'll be an everyday player. He just doesn't quite have the skill set that I like to have, because he doesn't excel at any one category. He's not going to hit for a high average. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs. He'll steal some bases here and there, but he's slow, and he's not very aggressive when it comes to that manner. And defensively, he's, aside from first base, where he doesn't have the bat to really play for, he doesn't really provide much value. But he was playing really well at the minor league level, so I couldn't help it. Had to give him a chance. I think at the minor league level, what was he doing? AAA, he was batting roughly the same thing as what he's doing here, 8-10. So he was doing good enough. I think at that moment I was desperate for players. I don't think I had anyone at the minors quite yet ready. So it could change because he's so young as far as his MLB career is concerned that bubble bursts and he goes back down to averaging barely 100 or not even 100. Let's see here. July 23rd was some bad news. Starting pitcher Joe Boyle was placed on the 15-day IL with shoulder tendonitis. He's expected to miss 5 to 6 weeks. But honestly, he was not having a good time transitioning to the rotation role. He was getting blown up. He was just kind of struggling. A bullpen role is definitely his best bet. So I ended up calling up Kyle Mueller, back up from AAA Las Vegas. There he is here, still winless, terrible ERA. He's actually gotten worse since we called him back up. Or did it drop? It was 8.16. Even though he gave up 3 runs, I think it actually helped his ERA, which is fun. That's how bad he was. That giving up runs is actually... And he wasn't doing well at AAA level either. It's just... This time of the year, I try to refrain from overloading my 40-man roster with guys that I may or may not like. He's already on the 40-man roster, so he's already taken up a spot. I'd rather just call him back up than bring on a brand new person who I may or may not like. That's kind of my philosophy, especially if guys are injured. As players come back, I got to start moving guys back. And then next year, you're stuck with 32, 33 guys, and you're starting to waste your option years on them. I try not to lose team control of guys. Because you got to keep in mind, we're a small market. I can't afford to start service time way too early and end up trading a guy when he's 27, 28, because I can't keep him a little bit longer. But Kyle Mueller is struggling this year, even though he's got the skill set, I think, to be a 5-starter, a solid 5-starter. I mean, he's got a good pitch mix. It's not like he's just atrocious. For some reason, it's just not clicking for him. And then some bad news. Right-handed pitcher. This is, of course, for the minor league Arizona Complex. But Jake Garland wins the Arizona Complex Best Pitcher Award. I think I currently have him in low A. There he is. He's struggling at low A. No, he's not. He's actually 0-1 with a 2.7 year. So he's already having some success down there. But this is the Arizona Complex Pitcher of the Year. I don't see him ever making it up to the majors. He's just not that good. But he's having a good time now, and I don't want to, don't tell him. Don't go to his Twitter account and tell him that he's not going to make it to the majors. But he's having a good time. I mean, he won the Arizona Complex Championship. He's doing well at low A right now. He's won the Best Pitcher Award for the complex. Maybe if the TCR goes his way, he'll be one of the guys that ends up moving up. Where TCR needs to help him out is obviously his stuff. I mean, he's almost maxed out. He's maxed out pretty much everywhere else except for his stuff. So, unless he gets major improvement in this category here, he will forever be probably in high A until he's too old and I have to cut him. But that is your pitcher of the year for the Arizona Complex. Some bad news. Second baseman Zach Gelof was placed on the 10-day IL with a sprained ankle. He's expected to miss 2 weeks. And that happened pretty much right at the end of the month. So we're going to be without him for half the month. But good news is, second baseman Daryl Hernandez, the 146th ranked prospect, had his contract selected and he'll be making his MLB debut. Started the season off at AA Midland where he slashed .299, .389, and .451 with 8 home runs, 36 RBI, and 13 stolen bases in 83 games, all starts. He earned a promotion at the conclusion of the Arizona Complex playoffs, and in 9 games for AAA Las Vegas, he's absolutely raked, slashing .314, .429, and .629 was his slugging. Daryl's first MLB hit comes at his first at-bat, and it was a double off of Kyle Harrison. And it was a good debut for Daryl as he went 2 for 5 with a double and an RBI. It did strike out once, and I believe we have him currently starting versus righties, so he's going to get a lot of action. He is a second baseman, purely second baseman. He could be at left field, but he's one of our lower options when it comes to that. I just have several other left fielders better than him. But at second base, I think he's a solid defender at second base, above average. His potential is actually average now. But he's got really good bat-to-ball skills. He doesn't strike out a ton. No power. So look for him to have a high average. That's what he's going to have. He's got decent gap power, so he's somebody that should be able to hit for high average and get a lot of singles and doubles. That's going to be his thing. Singles and doubles, and he will be able to steal bases. He's good enough there. Not quite as aggressive, but he's got above average speed and plus stealing ability. He should be able to swipe plenty of bags to make an impact at a major league level. He's only played 1 game, so it's hard to tell what he's going to be. But he is an exciting piece. Now, the thing is, if we have him and I have Zach Gelof, it comes down to trying to figure out where to fit him, because he's not good enough for short. And like I said, there's other left fielders that are not only better defensively, but currently their offense kind of, you got to have a louder bat to be in the outfield, in my opinion. I'm not really looking for a high average left fielder because I don't think he can play right field. Yeah, left fielder is all he can play. Left field and second base is kind of his home. I mean, I don't mind putting him in left field if he is clearly hitting 300 and staying there consistently and stealing enough bases. I mean at least 20 plus and hitting 300 plus. Then I can live with his bat in left field. If you're not going to give me home runs, I can take that. but still a really solid player that I think can eventually develop into an everyday player. More than likely at second base, where he fits much better, which means I could probably slide Zach Gelof over to third, where his nearly plus arm should be able to play better. As Zach Gelof, I think is a fringy, a decent second baseman, but probably would fit better off at third base. Although he doesn't have the power, he's got that elite stealing capability, which in my eyes he's capable of stealing 100 bases a year if I give him enough chances. So at the beginning of the month, I sent down left fielder Lazaro Armenteros. He hasn't really made much of an impact on my team since we called him up. He's been cold all month, remained cold, barely saw any playing time because he's playing one of those positions where tons of guys can play. I think I had him. He's a left fielder, and the way I work out my minor leagues, by the time most of these guys get up to the pros, many of them have played multiple positions, and left field being the last option for guys kind of makes them obsolete. Because if your bat can't play, I have countless other left fielders that can come up there. Plus, I can teach them to play left field. Not that big of a deal. And then kind of in a move just to get a better player up here, we're starting around our prospects. Third baseman Brett Harris had his contract selected. Harris will be seeking to make his MLB debut. Whenever I put him, he's not in any of my starting lineups, so whenever I put him in, he's probably have to come in when guys are tired or if someone gets injured, maybe a pinch hit situation, something like that. Not considered a top prospect in the A's organization, but is having a solid 2024 campaign for AAA Las Vegas, slashing .298, .385, .529 with 16 home runs, 53 RBI, and 13 stolen bases in 85 games, 79 starts. So he was doing okay. But here he is, third baseman. A solid third baseman. Could play average defense at second, give enough reps there. Could also play left if I needed to. Like I said, this is what I mean by I have tons of guys that can play left field. Like pretty much everybody that is coming up now is going to probably have left field, first base in their repertoire as a position. Because in my opinion, the minor leagues is a place to develop. Like you don't have to just solely play the position that you've never played before. Like there's no. Let them develop. Let them play a position they may have not have played, but are better suited for. Or if you know the guy is probably going to be a utility guy, it's okay to teach him multiple positions. That way, by the time he gets up to the pros, whenever you need him to come in for somebody, he's always your first option. So as guys are getting tired, he ends up getting more and more reps, and he ends up playing just fine. He ends up playing plenty of games and getting plenty of at-bats. But yes, Brett Harris, we did call him up. He's 26, so he's fairly old for a first-time call-up. But we're kind of running out of options, and he's got decent enough ratings. He's more of a bat-to-ball skill guy. He's below average power, so it was a little surprising that he was slugging so well down at AAA. 16 home runs. I think that's what he had. He has 16 homers, which is, as you can see here by his own. I also gave him way more playing time. I mean, even in AA, in 84 games, he had 10 home runs. He's currently got 16, so he's definitely grown into his power. And this, even according to his, he hasn't had a good year like this since 2022 when he was at high A. So that's a long time ago since he's been playing this kind of baseball. But he's not a bad-looking prospect. He's got, decent bat-to-ball skills. He can steal a base here or there. Not a very aggressive guy, so he doesn't choose to do it often, and he's not exceptionally fast. But he's decent enough defensively to play at least third. And like I said, if you need to, you can slide him into second. And of course, I think he's fringy enough at left field that you can shove him in there if you need to. Nothing exciting. Somebody that provides good depth, and an injury happens or a guy needs a day off. This is exactly what he's good for. And this is why I would bring him in. So that's kind of the brief news that we had, the transactions. And now you can see here, we're 43 and 67. That's good enough for a 39% clip. 39.1. 20 games out of our division. Currently, Houston is up over Texas 3.5. We are now the worst team in the AL, as we are 15 games out of the wild card spot and worse than the 2 Sox. So not a good time to be a Sox. If you were a Sox, I would consider becoming something else, maybe a stocking. Just don't be a Sox. Bad time to be a Sox. 39.1, which I think is still an improvement from last year's. Last year there were 50 and 112, so hopefully I don't lose 100 games. I would like to not lose 100 games, personally. They were 30%, so we're almost 10% better than we were the year before. And even 2 years ago, they were, again, at 100 games at 37%, where they lost 102. Haven't had a winning record since 2021. So hopefully I can keep improving. We'll have to see this bar go up and stay up, and maybe something like this. And then we win some championships. That's the hope. As you can see, our starting rotation is just completely gone to shambles. Even our rock sturdy guys have started to look pretty bad. Adrian Martinez, who was consistently throughout the entire season was in the 3s, is now up to 4.08 ERA. We already saw Kyle Miller. He's been terrible. J.P. Sears, the one guy that was pretty decent throughout to start the year, he's slowed down. He hasn't gotten much worse. He's kind of evened off, kind of 5 runs a game is what he's going to give you if you let him. But as you can see, he had a stretch of runs where he just wasn't doing anything. He did get hurt here, minor injury, so didn't keep him out of the rotation, but did get hurt. But then, of course, he came back, lasted just 2.2 innings, which kills my bullpen. I hate starts like that because it kills my bullpen when you're getting because you get injured. Well, luckily, this was right before the All-Star break, so at least everybody got to rest. But then you come back, you get injured, you make the bullpen work extra hard because you just give up way too many runs. You can't get anybody out. So he's been rough. Been rough going for him since it's a long time ago that his ERA was in the 2s. Mitch Spence, again, you can see him down here at the bottom. Although he's kind of a surprisingly, he is our strikeout machine. As you can see, he's the only starting pitcher with 106 over 100 strikeouts right now. And Osvaldo Bido, I think he's finally found his footing. You can see he's gotten out of the 5s and into the 4s, including a complete game. He played a complete game shutout, allowing just 5 hits, walked 4, struck out 5, and a complete game shutout of the Los Angeles Angels in an 11-0 victory, too. So we won big. Didn't even need to keep him in, but I was like, you know what? Let's keep you in. Let's let something good happen to you. Because chances are you're not going to start again next year. So let's get you in and let you get something down on record, showing you to be really good. But he's played solid enough to probably head back to the bullpen when we start back spring training, or even possibly this year. And that's the starting. And the bullpen has really kind of gone to crap. But now we've played enough games where I tend to let the stats. I still like the ratings, but I've kind of let the stats now do more of the talking. As you can see here, Mason Miller is no longer the closer. Recently, he's just played absolutely bad baseball. So Gerardo Reyes ends up being the closer. He's not a strikeout machine, but he's got an elite level ERA in 26 innings, as you can see here. But he's got plus stuff. He's good enough. Only thing is, if he just get rid of the sinker and just stick to his fastball and slider, he'd probably be one of the best closers in baseball. Because those 2 pitchers are elite. One fastball is nearly. He's touching triple digits. It's exactly what you want in your. He's got low stamina. He's going to throw 100. He's going to throw 98 to 100. He's going to go fastball. You get a fastball, then you get a slider, and you're striking out swinging. As you can see, he's only given up 2 earned runs in his last 5 appearances. So he's done really well. And now he's going to probably be the closer for the rest of the year and kind of show me what he has going forward. He's definitely earned a spot on my roster next year, especially if the ERA stays the way it does. Whip's a little high, so he's probably walking. He is walking extremely high at 6.9 per 9. Not good. Not something I would like to see in my closer, because you're going to put a lot of pressure on getting those outs and putting a man in scoring position, because you're going to walk 1, you're probably going to walk 2. And then all it takes is 1 home run and your save is blown and you lose. Probably what happened here, actually. It's probably a tied game. No, it wasn't. It was 20-1. What am I talking about? It stinks when you lose 20-1, but you get stuck with the loss because you give up 1 earned run, even though you lost 20-1. And then the new setup guy is going to be Francisco Perez. Similar, I think they both got called up at a similar time. He's a little better strikeout guy, but the ERA is higher. Very similar innings. He's a left-hander. I like that part. Could improve slightly. That stuff could become plus. Movement is his control is going to be his issue. Always going to be his issue. Just get rid of the changeup. Why do you keep such a bad pitch? That is a below average pitch. Why keep it? Just get rid of it. I wish that was an option. If we have an option to add stuff, we should have an option to not keep stuff. Like, I should be able to sit down, have a conversation with Francisco. Like, hey, Francisco, come here for a second. I gotta tell you something. You know that changeup you like to throw? Yeah. You know how you always give up a home run with it? Yeah. Can you not ever throw it again? Okay, that's fine. Just stick to your fastball and slider. Those are nearly elite grade pitches. Oh, okay. And conversation's done. Maybe even the control would go up. I don't know. Just he'll be better. But I mean, he's still doing well, as you can see here. Aside from a couple of blow-up games where 3 earned runs and 4 earned runs, probably due to my bullpen being overused with the injuries and poor play by the starters. His ERA's gotten back down to just under 3. So he was solid before, then he still remains solid even with a couple of blow-up games. So I think a good pitcher, all in all. I got to show you how bad Mason Miller has been. I mean, what hurt him was 3 runs given up, not good, and then 5 runs given up is really what hurt him right here. That 5-run game where he just couldn't get out of his own way. Was walking guys, giving up a home run, just a bad day overall. And now he finds himself just as a regular middle reliever. Still a solid player. Next year, I'm sure I'll give him that role back next year because he's just too good currently. I mean, that's depends if I sign anybody or not. And the other guys have all been solid. As you can see here, everybody is at least average. There's no one below average as far as ERA is concerned. We've got at least average or better in our bullpen. So the bullpen is remained fairly solid all season. The rotation is what's really hurting. We don't have any true frontline guys. If you saw my draft video, you know that we have guys coming up. Now, when will they come up? I don't know. But we did draft talent. It's just a matter of waiting it out and getting them. Perhaps make a trade in the offseason, sign some free agents, whatever it is. We can figure it out and move from there. Lineup-wise, let's take a look at the stats here. Who's playing well, who's not. We went over him. Brent Rooker still doing extremely solid. He's I think I ended up moving him to DH. Well, he's DH versus righties, and he's playing first versus lefties, I believe. Or do I have him at left? Yeah, I got him first versus lefties because I got a catcher playing DH. I don't like my catcher playing the position outside of catcher. Otherwise, he doesn't get to rest as much. So Brent Rooker still solid with the 8, well above average. The 835 OPS shows that he is one of the better players in the league. I think he should have gotten the All-Star vote over J.J. Bleday. I don't know how the game decides which guy gets to go, because I know J.J. only got to go because someone has to represent each team, and he was our representative. he did not get there because of his merit, but more so because everybody's got to have at least one guy show up. And that was our one guy. But Brent Rook has still been solid, a 250 average, slugging 487 for an OPS of 835. Currently has 17 home runs and 22 stolen bases. It looks like he will easily reach the 2020 mark as he's on pace for 25 homers and 32 stolen bases. That is an outstanding season. That's a season that will keep you in rotation next year moving forward and will hopefully be a key piece to this team. And again, I have to be realistic. I can't afford Juan Soto's and the guys like that. I have to do the best with what I have, and he's doing a really good job. If he could continue this level of play next season, that's one less position I have to worry about. He could DH, he could play first, and he can slide to left field if I need him to. I prefer not to slide him out to right field, but at least left field he is serviceable there. And his power plays enough to where he can deserve that corner outfield spot. There's our little all-star, J.J. Bleday, as we saw earlier. Like I said, nothing outstanding, just to be forever known to be looks like his power could go up a little bit more. But forever will be known as an all-star. Abraham Turro, remember this guy? When I called him up, he was horrible. But he's played extremely well over the past month, as you can see here. He's got his average up to 267. He's got his OPS up to 704. So he's been playing quite well for us since we called him back up. So whatever his issue was to start the year, that has apparently gone away. Because as you can see, he's been productive in many games. He's getting multiple hit games in the last 5 games. Even steals a base here and there. So really, even with a short amount of games, looks like he's only projected to play 81, he's still going to get 21 stolen bases roughly if he can keep it up. So hopefully he's a decent third baseman. Now this is where it's going to become hard and difficult for me, because he might end up getting replaced by Zach Gelof, and then it's just a matter of finding a home for him. Do I find a home for him or do I trade him? I don't know. I'm going to have to see if he fits anywhere. That's why I take my roster spots seriously. That's really it for the bats. Everyone else is okay-ish. Nick Allen is, even though his OPS, he's better against, I think he has to play against, he's better against righties. He's not good against lefties, as you can see here. That's why he's not even showing up. I've now gone purely by stats. So if you're good enough, now you're only playing according to stats. So I kind of, as the year goes on, I start to shy away from ratings and I go more towards the stats. Because if you're playing well, I'd rather go with the guy that's having good stats. Now not Brett Harris. Even though Nick Allen has a low, he's a really solid defender. Like it's hard to get rid of him. Because even though he's not playing offense all that great, but he's about to steal 50 bases. His batting average, I wish, was higher, considering his contact and avoid K rate. I would love to see that higher. But defensively, he's so solid that it's just hard to not want to keep him in your lineup. Especially, and then, of course, his stealing base capabilities is high enough to where he can steal almost 50 a year. It's just, he's not producing much offensively, unfortunately. Well, that's it for this video. The next video will probably go over the Arizona Complex playoff. Kind of debating whether I want to go over it or just kind of gloss over it real quick. Because it's the minor leagues. We keep up with them enough. More than likely, we'll just move on. I'll see you at the end of August as we move on to September, where rosters expand. And we just have 1 month left of baseball after that. I'll see you then.